Hey, good evening. My name is Mark Morek. I'm the managing partner for Ciresi Morek. For those of you that have joined me in the past or joined us in the past, you'll notice that I don't have Robert with me. So we're doing the solo today. We thought we would change it up a little bit. A couple of things I wanted to get out to you is, for questions and stuff today for the live audience, Anna Maria is helping me behind the scene. So she, if you have questions, go ahead and ask them. I'll get to them as we're going through kind of our format today. I did want to take a minute though and thank my team. Some of these guys have been with us for a year, or coming up on a year. Some of us have been with us for 6+ years, and that's hard to find. But Rick Crew, Ben Evans, Joe Montero, Kurt Judy, Aaron Zupan, Kenneth Pettis, and Mark Anthony. I just want to thank you guys for everything that you're doing. The biggest thanks goes to the principal, Robert Ciresi. Robert has been a great friend and mentor to us, and I just appreciate everything that he's done. So thanks, guys. Thanks for the team that we have. Also, for those of you that don't know, behind the scenes, Eileen Fullenkamp runs pretty much the office, and Anna Maria has been kind of our backbone for marketing for the last year plus. So I think you may have just lost us too. So I think we're buffering right now. I'm not 100% sure. I think we might be back. So now that I have that out of the way, it's the 19th of August, as I said, and something that we've been doing, it's always a struggle for us. We have, over the last probably 3 weeks, sent out over 90,000 emails, and there's always a balance between, are we inundating our audience or not? But we figured get the information out there to you folks, and hopefully it's helpful. Our biggest thing that we're trying to do through this whole YouTube and outreach and marketing campaign is to be as helpful as possible to our audience, both candidates and clients alike. So hopefully you guys have. So we sent out. We did a survey at the end of last year that was phenomenal. Problem was it was super long. A lot of the comments we got back said it was almost painful to go through. So we apologize for that. We sent out a new survey recently, 77,000 people. And promise you it's much shorter. It should take you less than 4 minutes to complete it. So we would really love it if you guys would take a minute, actually take about 4 minutes, complete the survey. The reason is, what we're looking for right now is a lot of information back about what's going on. No? It's just glitching? Because it just came up. Like. What's that?
That's what it sounds like. You're good?
You're good. Am I back on?
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay. Sorry about that. We still are trying to figure out this technical difficulty piece here. So, the survey was 77,000 people, and from that standpoint, we were hoping for better results right now. We've gotten pretty good results. We've got a lot of comments coming back. It's kind of funny. I've had, some people are venting kind of on the negative side of things, which, hey, I get it. That's why we're doing the survey. So for John, Matt, and Mark, who I've had all conversations with over this past week, I appreciate your candid feedback and responses. So looks like we might be having technical issues.
Yeah, on the hold if you would.
Hang on 1 second, guys. Sorry. So I have technical support in here that are trying to figure out what's going on. We thought we had this one cracked, but I don't think so.
Okay. Okay.
All right, hopefully this is now working. So we talked about the survey. So the other thing I wanted to get in, so what we're going to do is kind of just speed this up a little bit. The new openings that we have, because I think that's a pretty important part of it, sign in and want to hear about. So we've had a great relationship with a bakery company, Millie's. They've asked us, not only did we fill a role with them, which I'll get to, but they've also asked us to fill a couple of positions for them, maintenance managers for them in Michigan and Ohio. Client of ours that does axles is looking for a supplier quality engineer in Elkhart, Indiana, somebody who can help them kind of qualify and audit their suppliers, their supply base. They're looking at probably 30 to 50% travel, looking at low hundreds on a base, looking for somebody with a strong automotive background. Have a client down in Tuscaloosa. They are looking for a supply chain manager, somebody who has got a strong tier 1 and JIT or just-in-time background. Looking for a recruiting manager in Columbus, Ohio. So a client of ours came to us and asked us to help them find somebody that can create a recruiting department internal to them and, maybe mitigate some of the external costs of using a firm like ours. It happens, but we've got a great relationship with them and we'll help them do that. And then also a very cool opportunity west of Akron. Client of ours, new company. It's funny. We know both of the hiring manager as well as the head of HR. They're candidates of ours. They're clients of ours. We've known them for years, but they are looking for a high potential plant manager that can come in and basically learn the business and grow as part of a bench strength or succession planning structure or succession planning strategy. So the other thing is, we've got a number of positions that are open, and I don't want to go through all of them. They're listed on our active search page. I encourage you to check it out. We try to keep that as up to date as possible. But I do want to call out a couple other ones that have been out there that we're looking for some just additional pipeline or candidate flow. Client down in Tuscaloosa is also looking for a plant manager, somebody who's an automotive tier 1 person. We've got another in Detroit, Michigan for a large different tier 1, and they're looking for a director of manufacturing engineering, somebody that can come in and help manage a $100 million budget. So on the capital equipment side of things. So if you guys are interested in that or want more information, please go to the website on that, CeresiMorek.com. Anna Maria will put that up as well. And then also want to congratulate James Brock, Director of Maintenance for Aunt Millie's Bakeries. I mentioned earlier we're doing a lot of work with those guys. So we're just kind of helping them build their team and continuing to build the relationship. I'm going to try and not do the machine either. So there's, people are always asking us for help on suggestions and coaching about interviewing and resumes. And there's 5 things that I think are pretty, I get if there's a there, ERE versus an, EIRE or they are. But for misspelled words, we really got to be on top of it. The other thing is, and we'll get into this, when to use bullet points, when not to. But, the basic format that we've had a lot of success with and we always encourage people to use, and we're going to go through a couple resumes here in a minute. But even if it's a name brand company, tell me who your company is. Give me a couple lines. Is it public? Is it private? How big are they? Are they global? What kind of stuff do you make? Not everybody knows. And a lot of people think, everybody knows who like Eaton is or Parker Hannifin, but I'm telling you, they don't. So make it easy for them. The other thing is, tell me what you're responsible for, okay? Give me a couple lines underneath the title that tells me you're responsible for. Try to answer the, the 5, the who, what, where, when, why, and how. What do you make? How many people? Square foot? If you're a plant manager, how big is your plant? Or if you're involved in a plant, how big is it? Some basic information so we can kind of frame up what it is you do. And then the bullets are always used for call outs. Like, the answer I always ask is, who cares? So what? Tell me quantitative, qualitative metrics around what your bullets are. Why is the organization better? Why is that role, that company better for having you at the helm or you in that position and that what you're responsible for? The other thing is right now with, there's a lot of like teleconferencing and phone interviews and Zoom interviews going on. Make sure you are prepared for that. Make sure the technology works right? I mean, right now we had the technology issue ourselves and it keeps buffering. But make sure that you've got the phone is charged, that that it's quiet, that you're not driving. That's always an issue. People are trying to interview. Well, I'll be commuting home at that time. No, pull over so you can take notes. You have your resume in front of you so that you're comfortable, that you're not distracted by other things. Make sure you listen to the question. Make sure you've got a good connection. I would rather have you reschedule because it's a bad cell phone reception than it is to go through a spotty, painful conversation. The other thing is being prepared. Make sure you research the company. You understand what the position is. Again, there's so much information out there that I really find it hard to understand how somebody goes into an interview and did not at least pull up their LinkedIn profiles if they're there. Most people have them nowadays. If you want to go really creepy, go into Facebook, right? See if you can get some information on their personal stuff. What do they do? But know what the company does. Know what the position's about. What's the objective of the position? If you guys think about this for a second, and I use guys in a non-gender specific reference, so to try and be somewhat politically correct. But when you go into an interview, right, and think about this, a company is hiring somebody. Companies do not like hiring people typically. They don't. It's painful. It takes people out of their comfort zone. It takes hiring managers out of what their job is, right? Their job is not to hire people. Their job is to do whatever they need done. So if they're hiring somebody, it's because there's a need out there. There's like one or two things that need to get done. Your best interview, the best way that you can represent yourself is try and figure that out. What is it that they're trying to solve? What's the central issue? What's the challenge? Why is this position open? If you can do that, what your background is and how it is connected to that, if you understand what the company is, if you have a good idea of who the hiring manager is, that's how you're going to put your best foot forward. Right now, it's competitive out there. There's a lot of people going for the same position. You have to A, be prepared, and B, differentiate yourself. And if you can't do that, you're going to seriously decrease your probability of getting an offer. That's what your goal is, right? It's to get an offer. And then the other thing is, so once you've gone out, you've researched a company, phone connection's good, you know who you're talking to, you know what the position is, you know the company. I mean, you've done like research on what's going on in the news in the company, so you're up to date with what's going on. A biggest failure I see that we've seen over the years is candidates, the interviewee not closing. And sometimes closing has this like negative connotation, like very salesy and used cars, but it's not. People like to be wanted. And I think too many people come out of an interview intimidated by the company, the person interviewing them. Guess what? They're just as nervous interviewing you or them. So, it's okay. If you're interested in the job, if you really want this position, you're very interested in the job, I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't, number one, ask if they have any questions, right? So you've gotten to the end and they say, hey, Mark, do you have any questions for us? What questions do you have for us? You should have a prepared list of questions, but your final kind of going out the door should be, listen, I'm really interested in this job and I'm confident I can be the person you want. Do you have any concerns on my ability to do this job for you? Hit that right in front. Be out in front of that if there are, right? So that's their opportunity to come back and say, hey, you don't have X, you don't have Y, or we have concerns around this thing or that thing. It's okay. That's when you need to let them know that either, how you would work around it or how you can do it. The other thing is letting them know that you want the job. People want to be wanted, right? So you go through this whole interview, letting them know, hey, listen, I want to work for you. I want this job. I want to be part of the team. It's okay to tell them that as long as it's true. Don't, playing games with that stuff, then everybody comes out of it not looking good. We do have a question from Joe Shepard. Thank you for posting a link to the active searches. What type of industry is the plant manager position west of Akron? The specific industry is agnostic, Joe. They're really looking for a leader that is on the floor, that takes care of their people and can be coachable and likes to coach. It's kind of a different industry what they're in. They do a lot of different processes, so they're really open on what they're looking for. And then also operations manager position in Cleveland, the plant manager position in Cleveland. So the plant manager position in Cleveland is metals, it's aerospace metals, and then the ops manager in Cleveland, I'll have to get back to you on that one, Joe. I don't know off the top of my head, I'm sorry. But if you send me an email at info, my email is mmorek@CiresiMorek.com, or the company one is info@CiresiMorek.com. I can have a conversation with you. And Joe, too, if you've worked with anybody with us previously, feel free to reach out to them. They're pretty good about, our guys are pretty good about getting back to people. So, but I'm happy to give you a call too if you want to send me an email, and we could set up a time either tomorrow or Friday to have a conversation. So, just if there's any other questions. Oh, hey Christy, nice to see you again. Sorry Robert's not here. But you think the interviewers will be candid if you ask about their concerns, or will they fluff the answer? Haven't already talked about it. Yeah, that's also so Christy, good point. So the problem is in today's litigious society, everybody's concerned about getting sued, or do they say the wrong thing? I have found more times than not, if a candidate is being upfront saying, hey, am I a fit for this? Do you have any concerns? A lot of times the hiring manager, now HR sometimes isn't so much, but a lot of times the hiring manager, we've been very successful with the hiring manager coming back and saying, hey, listen, you don't have XYZ experience, right? And then the candidate being able to say, well, no, actually I do have it. Or, hey, I didn't have this experience, but this is how I overcame that, right? It's an opportunity to have the open dialogue now. And like I said, get ahead of it. So we always encourage it. The worst that's going to happen is, they're going to give you some fluffy answer and go from there. So I hope that answers your question. And then, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to read these as we go. So Cindy is asking, I have a career coach that helped me with LinkedIn profile and resume. Saw you were offering to review resumes today. Can take advantage of that? Yes, we can. Probably going to have to be next week. We have a couple of resumes to go through, and I'm really trying to keep us on a schedule today, Cindy. So happy to do it. We may be able to do it like offline, a one-on-one thing, but we just try to go over. And that brings up a good point too, actually, Cindy. So, we always talk about this, but the resumes need to marry up to the LinkedIn profile. It's incredibly important. We've had opportunities, and we've had people lose opportunities because they didn't have a position, so it looks like you're not being honest, which is always a struggle. So just make sure LinkedIn profiles are in line. So we're going to do a quick resume review here for a couple of folks, and then we'll come back to questions here in a second. But Kylina, if you are watching, thank you so much for your patience. We tried to do your resume review. I think we did part of it, and then it didn't go through. We were having technical difficulties then as well. But I want to tell you that overall, the resume is really good. Right out of the gates, contact information is there. You're telling us who you are. The summary is very good. It's powerful. It's kind of like, hey, this is me. This is where I'm at. The areas that you could, I think, do better are stuff that I just talked about in the 5 musts that we covered about resumes and interview prep. Classically, we see this all the time. Like, you're not telling me who I have no idea what your company does. So give me a line or two. What do they do, right? And then tell me, you've got your responsibilities bunched up with your accomplishments underneath your title. Take the bullets off your responsibilities, right? There's what your company paid you to do, right? So that's your responsibility, and that should be a couple lines. if you manage people, what your area of responsibility was, whatever. The bullets should be the wow things, quantitative, qualitative metrics, things that you did that you made the organization better for you for being there, things that you accomplished. I always tell people when I'm talking to them, we do one of two things for an organization. You either make them money or you save them money, right? It all boils down to that. Not to be superficial, but HR, it doesn't matter. It's not just sales, bringing revenue in or manufacturing efficiently, putting, product out. Everybody on the team touches the bottom line in some capacity. So you need to understand how you do that. And a lot of people come back and say, well, Mark, I don't know exactly what the specific numbers were. I get that, but professionally, we can take a swag at it. We can take a stab at it, right? You can get some kind of idea of what kind of impact you had on the bottom line. So Kylina, that's my recommendation. Tell me what the company does, a couple lines. Tell me what your responsibilities were as an HR manager there, right? Because your HR manager there is different from what an HR manager someplace else could be. And then accomplishments, just bullet them out, and then just keep that keep that structure throughout the whole resume. Education credentials are great. The other thing too is you have not been in the workforce that long that, your resume actually bleeds on to 2.25 pages. So some spacing things we can do to shorten that up and keep it all on 2 pages. But overall, it's a really solid resume. I think, a couple minutes of just reformatting stuff, putting some further information in there, would make it very clean and easy for somebody to read. And more importantly, somebody to understand what it is that you do, right? So, nice job. So, and again, thanks for your patience on it. The other one here we have to go through is Chris, Christopher. I don't know if you go by Chris or Christopher, but, similar things here with you. You have a summary of qualifications up front, but they're not very quantitative. Proven leader with 15 years of electromechanical hands-on and supervisory experience. That's pretty good, but your background, you've done engineering, you've also done marketing, and so it's kind of like, well, what do you want to do? I don't know, right? It's not my job to figure out what you want to do. You want to succinctly be able to tell us what it is you do. So I would recommend some work on the summary. You could put an objective statement in there if it's like, hey, this is what I want to do. Or if you want to get a little more clear on the summary of what your qualifications are. The other thing is what I said before also, is that, tell me what your company does. I don't know who your current employer is. I have no idea by those 3 initials, right? So I don't know if you want to even spell it out, if it's like an acronym for something. But give me a couple lines of what your company does. And then same thing here. You've got bullets that are your responsibilities underneath your title when it should be like a couple of lines, a couple of sentences, and then bullet out what it is you accomplished. And so you've got some kind of accomplishments in here, but it's not real clear and concise. And then just kind of keep that format throughout. So the other thing is, you've worked for General Electric, right? I mean, that's one of the most powerful companies. Even with the struggles they're having right now, it's one of the most well-known companies, and it's kind of hard to see that the way you just have it bolded. I would make the font a little bit bigger for your companies that you've worked for, and I would still explain in there who they are. The other thing is thanks for your service, even though it was the Navy. I don't know if you know or not, but I was an Army officer, so my brother and dad were both Navy guys, so I was kind of the black sheep of the family. So any opportunity I can to kind of, bust Navy's chops a little bit, I will do that. So here's the other thing too. So you got your nuclear engineering degree, and I'm going to assume, Christopher, that you went through the Navy nuke school. And fun fact, you know it, a lot of people know it, that's probably one of the hardest schools to go through to be successful at. And it's really kind of a badge of honor, like an unknown badge of honor. So I always recommend you put it in there that you have Navy nuke school, whatever it is. You could put it under education, you could put it underneath the Navy, but I would definitely recommend you put it out. And then I always get the question, well, not everybody knows what that is, right? You're right, but the people who do know what it is will appreciate it. the people who don't know what it is, they're going to ask you about it, and then that's your opportunity to kind of sell what it is. So again, I would really recommend. Oh, the other thing is too, Chris or Christopher, take off your specific address. That's, I would take that off and put your LinkedIn, profile link in there. So it would be your name, email, cell phone number, and then LinkedIn profile. But I would keep city, state. I would not put my physical home address on there. But again, just a little bit more detail around the qualifications. Give me information about what company you work for. Tell me what your responsibilities were as a marketing manager for them. Again, a lot of people say, well, marketing manager is a pretty common term. It is. Unfortunately, your marketing manager at your company is different than what I may understand it to be or what else. So it's just kind of baseline everything. So guys, Donovan, the position in Columbus, is it public or private? I believe it is a private company. But a cool opportunity. They're looking for somebody to come in and really build a recruiting department from the ground up. So, Joe, you did the Navy Nuke School? Is it on the resume and I just missed it? I don't know. Okay. I think that's it, Anna Maria. I think we're good. And guys, I really appreciate it. If there's any other questions you have, please, feel free to shoot them over to me. info@ciresiandmorek.com. You can send it to my email, mmorek@ciresiandmorek.com. All this information is on my on our website. It's also on my LinkedIn profile. I'm happy to help you guys in any way that we can. If there's any companies that are hiring that you think we could help, would love to hear about it. But really appreciate it. We're going to be back up in 2 weeks. So, guys, I appreciate the time. Have a great Wednesday. Stay safe out there. And we will talk to you in a couple weeks. Bye-bye.